Chapter 1. Damian stood squinting into the sun, his hand shading his eyes, seeking out April's yellow t-shirt or a glimpse of a long russet hair amongst the hordes of excited children. He took a step to his right to see past the slide, ignoring the faint pangs of panic simmering in his chest. There were kids everywhere, running, jumping, climbing, chasing, screaming, but none of them were April. "Stop kicking that ball!" he shouted at Dylan, every thud against the metal railing sending his irritation level soaring. Dylan stared at his father with a sulky pout. He scooped up his football and ran off to the other side of the playground. Damian sighed. He loved his kids, but the school holidays were a trial. The thought of another 5 long weeks of full-time childcare while he tried to run the business filled him with dread. And it was only the beginning of the second week of the break. The last time he had seen April, she'd been on the roundabout, squealing with delight as 2 older boys spun her faster. He'd only taken his eyes off her for a second to check his emails on his phone. She couldn't have gone far. Christ, he drilled it into her not to wander off. "April!" he shouted, trying not to sound anxious. A group of young mothers sipping iced lattes looked up. He shot them a humorless smile, pushing away the dark thoughts. He was overreacting. Nothing had happened to her. "Dad!" Dylan's voice whined. His son was trailing across the playground empty-handed, his bottom lip stuck out. "Where's your ball?" He pointed to a bushy horse-chestnut tree, its leaves rustling in the gentle breeze. "It's stuck." "Well, it's probably lost." Even the tree's lowest branches were well out of Damian's reach. Dylan's face crumpled. "It's okay, we'll get you a new one." Damian couldn't bear the thought of those disgusted looks he knew they'd attract from the self-righteous stay-at-home mums chatting around the edge of the playground with their fresh-from-the-salon haircuts and perfect teeth if Dylan had a full meltdown in public. "I don't want a new one." Damian placed a fatherly arm around his shoulder. "And maybe a new pair of football boots." Lucia would kill him if she could hear him now, but what the hell, she wasn't here. Dylan sniffed and wiped his sleeve across his nose. "The silver ones." "Sure," Damian said, hoping he didn't mean the expensive ones they'd admired in the window of the sports shop in town a few weeks ago. Money had been tight since he'd gone freelance, and Lucia had returned to her marketing job in London. They couldn't afford new football boots this month, especially as it meant they'd have to treat April as well. "Really?" Dylan's face lit up. He had grown up so much in such a short time. It didn't seem long ago that they'd brought him home from the hospital, strapped into his car seat, lost inside an enormous sleep suit, feeling totally bewildered by the experience of bringing a new life into the world. The first few days they'd spent marveling at his tiny fingers and toes, his wrinkly pink skin and his minuscule fingernails that left nasty scratches across his face, wondering what they were supposed to do with him. Dylan was older now, but parenthood was still a trial. "Can we go and buy them now?" "Let's get an ice cream first." "Dad, please." Dylan dragged out the syllables in a pitiful whine. "Ice cream first, then we'll see. Have you seen your sister?" "Nah," Dylan said, kicking a stone. "April!" Damian shouted again, scanning a meandering path that ran through the park adjacent to the kids' playground. It was conceivable that April had gone chasing a squirrel or a dog. She loved animals, maybe more than people. It would have only taken a big pair of round eyes and a furry coat to lure her away. Damian's stomach flipped. Oh God, what if she'd been taken? He swallowed hard, his throat dry. Should he call the police? No, they'd think he was overreacting, although with their family history, perhaps they wouldn't be surprised. Come on, lightning doesn't strike twice, he told himself. When his phone buzzed in his hand, his thumb automatically moved towards the little red symbol, planning to dump the call, until he noticed it was Lucia. She always phoned around 4, usually the last of several calls during the day, checking up on him. He didn't think she entirely trusted him.